1 of the Champions League quarterfinals is in the book, for better or worse, and it was eventful. So, sit back, relax, or not relax if these are one of your teams, as we explore all the games that took place. First things first, what the was that pitch? Like, this is the Champions League quarterfinals, and they're playing on a slip and slide. I mean, look at Sigmund Brunn's jersey within 30 minutes of playing! Real Madrid is actually disgraceful. Most teams are having their women's team play in the club's main stadium because the Champions League is, I don't know if they know this, kind of a big deal. And Madrid prove again that they don't care about their women's team. Anyways, Arsenal was of course on the heels of an embarrassing loss to Liverpool, so maybe it'll go better for them. Maybe. It won't. Arsenal's team news was not off to a great start. Daphne Van Domselaar was out with a concussion. Frida Madam's 4-game starting streak came to an end as she was on the bench. At least Kira Cooney-Cross was actually getting game time from it. Not like Rosa Kafaji. Don't worry, we'll get to that later. All I got to say is if you are a youngster, do not sign for Arsenal if you want playing time or basic human respect. Real Madrid's team sheet was close to their full strength, having Caroline Weir up top, and also setting up the starlet Linda Caicedo against Emily Fox. We got the first taste of this at the 16th minute mark when Caicedo, just ruins Fox, but Arsenal played pretty good recovery defense. I wonder what it is about these Continental America youngsters against Arsenal fullbacks lately. Then we got another feature of the game just 2 minutes later. Stina Blackstenius missing a chance. Wait, is Misa playing well? No, it can't be. The first goal of the game came courtesy of Leah Williamson, but not in the way that you are thinking.
Rompe al espacio, Linda Caicedo. La pelota que va para Linda. Se puede plantar sola Linda. Viene
Caicedo, the Colombian star, takes advantage of the mistake and buries it past Zinsberger. 1-0 Real Madrid. Yeah, this is not Williamson's season. Oh god, this might be Mariona Caldente's first time losing to Madrid. Arsenal continued to struggle on offense for the rest of the half. Mead had a good effort on a shot just before halftime, but that's really the only notable thing she did the entire half, leading to her being hooked at halftime along with Blackstenius, who had more offsides than shots on target. Slegers brought Chloe Kelly and Ford on as replacements. Wait, Ford hasn't scored in 14 games? Arsenal did look better in the second half, but Madrid's defensive effort stayed strong. Again, how is Misa playing well? Unfortunately, Melanie Leipold went off the pitch with a non-contact injury. Don't want to speculate, especially since she has had knees injuries before, but of course everyone's mind is going to go to the quality, or lack thereof, of the pitch. On came 16-year-old Irún Dorado for Real Madrid. Wow, 16 years old. And Rosa Kafaji still has no Champions League minutes for Arsenal. You're 1-0 down to Madrid and need a goal. Maybe bring on the player who has actually scored against Madrid in a Champions League game? No? Okay then. Arsenal continued to have chances, but just could not capitalize. Katie McCabe was having a pretty good game, so hopefully she'll keep her outbursts to a minimum this time. Oh my god. Then it happened. 82nd minute, Caroline Weir picks out Athenia, and she finds the back of the net with a great curling shot. I'm sorry, but you're cooked as a club if you let Athenia of all players score against you. Oh god, look who's at the center of it. Final score, 2 Real Madrid, 0 Arsenal. I would feel bad for Caldente, but she literally just didn't do anything the whole game. Worse for Arsenal, Kafaji posted this on her story after the game before quickly deleting it. I don't care, I'll say it. She's right. Why isn't the player who scored on this team before in the Champions League not playing? How is Lena Hurtig and Ford getting minutes over her at this point in the competition? Also, if you're supporting Chloe Kelly putting Man City on blast in her Instagram stories because she wasn't getting enough playing time, then hate to break it to you, this isn't that different. Leg 2 will be at the Emirates in London, so we'll see if Arsenal can claw back from this deficit. Lyon, don't piss me off. Lyon, don't piss me off. Lyon, why is Hegerberg not starting? Ada Hegerberg finds herself on the bench again. Jesus Christ, Montemuro, you better sleep with one eye open, because I swear to God. Bayern had their own issues with their lineup, though. Viggo was not starting, probably not 100% from the Wolfsburg game a few days ago. Instead, we get a pair of Swedish center backs. Sydney Lohman was on the bench while Lena Dahlmann and out-of-form Clara Bull started on the wings. Yeah, I'm going to take a wild guess and say Bayern's not scoring today. However, there is exciting news out the goalposts for Bayern as Maria Gross starts for the first time since announcing her cancer diagnosis just 4 months ago. I'll be honest though, this was a bit risky to do versus Lyon. For one, Ina Mamutovic has been in great form. Second, Gross' first game back is against a front line of Diani, Tabitha Shawinga, and Melchi Dumornay. I'd cry. Fun fact, this game marks Lyon's 16th Champions League quarterfinal, a record. Meanwhile, Bayern have got the German league in their hands now, but they still can't seem to get over the quarterfinals hump of the Champions League. This game started out physical and stayed physical. Lyon definitely had control of the game for the first 30 and some chances, but not actually threatening the goalkeeper. Somehow, though, Lyon's midfield was not really midfielding. The ball was getting forward really by the attackers. They had good build-up, but no real payoff. I wonder if you had a really tall person in the middle. Noticeably, Pernille Harder was nowhere in this game. Lyon had shut her down. Chowinga had been threatening the whole half, and Bayern's backline finally made a mistake in the 34th minute. Sembrant made an error. Chowinga fully gave up on this ball, but snatched the opportunity and capped it off with a great finish. I can't tell whether Heeps, was playing well or not, but sometimes she does do cool things, and sometimes she doesn't. Right on the brink of halftime, Zadrazol had a late challenge on Carpenter in the penalty area, leading to VAR and a penalty given for Lyon. And who will take it? Lindsay Hurrah Heeps! Sorry.
Heeps for two. And Gross.
I'll be honest, I already knew what would happen before the ball was kicked. Maybe you should have a better penalty taker on. What a moment for Gross, though, just to keep her team in the game and give them momentum to second half. However, Bayern did not take advantage. They didn't start the second half on the right foot after a Buell miss. However, they got hot and were challenging Lyon more. Lyon then really started taking control before the 60-minute mark, but Gross kept it under control for Bayern. But you cannot deny Melchi Dumornay for that long.
Heeps is in here, and the layoff is perfect for Dumornay.
Haran makes up her missed penalty with a great assist. Then, Lyon made some subs in the 70th minute. Imagine being down 2-0 and looking over to see Lyon bring on Ada Hegerberg and Amel Majri. After the second goal, nothing went right for Bayern, but fortunately for them, Lyon could not find the back of the net again. Like Real Madrid Arsenal, this fixture is going to head into the second leg with a 2-0 aggregate. Lyon will take the lead into their home field advantage next week in France. Barcelona at Barcelona B, Wolfsburg. Look, I'll be honest, I don't really want to talk about this game, it just gets me upset. And I don't even hate Barcelona, it's more the fact that Tommy Stroot has a job. He should not have a job. Wolfsburg are such a historic team with Champions League pedigree, and now it seems like the club just doesn't care. Stroot would rather play Huth out of position than have an actual young midfielder like Kielen start. Also, why is Endemann on the bench? Wolfsburg started on their back heels and stayed on their back heels throughout the game. When Yul Brand is yelling at the ref, you know it's bad. Barcelona, of course, started the game with majority possession, and, of course, the former Wolfsburg player Iwa Payor had to score. Even if it was technically an own goal. I don't care, I'm giving that to Payor. At least she didn't celebrate against her former club like a certain former Wolfsburg player this week. The rest of the half was Barcelona kept squandering the chances, but Wolfsburg literally did nothing. I could not tell you what the tactics were. Wolfsburg did look a little better coming out of the locker room at half, but within 5 minutes, Barcelona scored again, courtesy of Paredes, with Pop obviously yelling at her teammates. Within 50 minutes, it was already the same scoreline as the games played previously, 2-0. 2 minutes later, Barca scored again, this time from Peleuelo. Then, Stroot subs off Brand, who was his highest rated player at that point. Wolfsburg looked like they were on autopilot the whole game. Huge shout out to Jana Fernandez though, who was having a great game on the right, shutting down Wolfsburg's options. Oh, it's not over though. Stroot finally made the right substitutions at 70 minutes, finally hooking Berenstein from the game and putting on Eindman and Blomqvist, but it was too late. Finally, Wolfsburg score on their first corner of the game from Jana Minge. 3-1. Hey, maybe they could have some momentum. They're only 2 goals down, so maybe the second leg they have a chance.
With Schertenleib. Schertenleib! Oh!
Of course, the Barca youngster scored. In all seriousness, though, Sydney is so good. Iconic. Anything is possible, but I don't think Wolfsburg has anything left in them. It's just depressing, and Stroot deserves to be the face of this failure. He's ruining Alex Popp's last years of her amazing career. Honestly, this game was just a contest of who can overcome their injury list. For City, they had no Bunny or Jorginho, but they did have Jess Park and Carolyn on the wing, so it's not as dire as it may seem, but no Bunny is hard. They did roll into this game with Miedema on the bench, which is crazy. Fowler was a striker. And whoa, City only has 5 outfield subs. Aside from Chelsea's obvious injuries, they entered the fixture with no Naomi Girma, Mpombe, or Guro Wrighton. No Wrighton is really what is worrying me through Chelsea's 4-game stretch against City. Her positioning is a key cog in Chelsea's offense. This game also marked Walsh facing her old squad. Maybe it'll go better than the last time she faced them in Manchester. Also, before we get into it, why is Baltimore at left back? This experiment isn't working. You have Ashley Lawrence and Neve Charles on the bench. Use them. Okay, now for the game. City started out firing, with Carolyn giving Chelsea a scare in the first minute. Things started to calm down though after 10 minutes, where both teams were exchanging chances. City was putting pressure on Chelsea, and it was working. They kept losing the ball in their own half, and Hannah Hampton was up to the task though, playing really well and keeping Chelsea in the game. Chelsea also looked unsynced between the players on offense, especially when passing in City's box. And this has actually been the only game this quarterfinal where a goal wasn't scored before halftime. Nick Cushing, meanwhile, subbed on Vivian Miedema for Lily Murphy. Yeah, you know where this is going. City were knocking on the door, and finally Chelsea's dam broke. Miedema was in the right place at the right time, unmarked by Lucy Bronze. But she did have the intelligence to put in the top of the net, so Hampton had no chance. Which is hard for Hampton since she just made a great save. Chelsea had not improved at the half, and it would take until 10 minutes later for Maika Hamada to come on when she should have been starting. Chelsea had a chance to level the game at the 79th minute, but Canberra just overshoots it. It looked like Chelsea just wanted to escape with a 1-0 loss, then regroup next week. Miedema and City obviously had other plans. City will now enter leg 2 at Kingsmeadow with a 2-goal cushion. They were by far the better team that day. While they did lose to Chelsea a few days before in the League Cup final, in Nick Cushing's second game in charge, and second against Chelsea, City make a statement, and Chelsea's unbeaten run under Bon Pastor has finally come to an end. Actually, I talked about it in my last video. Chelsea have not been looking good, and it finally caught up to them. Do I think they have a chance to turn around? Yes, but the players have to play better, and we'll see if the City players continue their form. Honestly, the first legs of these quarterfinals were mostly just depressing, unless you're a City or Lyon fan. A horrible pitch, Athenia somehow scoring against Arsenal, and Wolfsburg falling apart before our eyes. With 3 out of the 4 games being 2-0, surprises can still happen. Lyon will probably hold off Bayern in France. Maybe we'll see Hegerberg, who knows? Chelsea vs City will definitely be a battle. Arsenal will definitely have a boost from playing at the Emirates, and they'll have a good chance to come back, I reckon. Wolfsburg's only chance of coming back is if Stroot is sacked immediately. Thanks so much for watching my video. Let me know in the comments any suggestions or other content you'd like to see. Also, what are your guys' predictions for the second leg or the competition overall?